In a quiet Tennessee town, a police officer, emboldened by years of unchecked authority, attempted to arrest a black man for a minor traffic violation, unaware that his target was Colonel Marcus L. Bennett, a highly respected U.S. Army officer with decades of service and a reputation for integrity. The officer's aggressive tactics and racial assumptions backfired spectacularly when Bennett's calm assertion of his rights exposed the officer's misconduct, leading to a chain of events that dismantled a culture of impunity and reshaped the town's police department. This incident became a defining moment, revealing the consequences of unchecked power and the strength of one man's resolve to demand justice. Marcus L. Bennett, a 47-year-old Army colonel, was on leave in his hometown of Fairview, Tennessee, visiting family after a deployment overseas. A logistics expert with tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, Bennett had earned multiple commendations, including the Bronze Star, for his leadership under pressure. On a warm September afternoon in 2023, he was driving his sister's SUV to pick up groceries when a police cruiser signaled him to pull over. The officer, Daniel Harper, a 12-year veteran of the Fairview Police Department, approached with an air of authority that bordered on arrogance. Harper informed Bennett that he had failed to signal a lane change, a minor infraction. Bennett, calm and composed, provided his driver's license and military ID, explaining that he was borrowing the vehicle. Harper barely glanced at the IDs, his tone sharp. "You need to step out of the vehicle, sir. We've had reports of suspicious activity in this area." Bennett, trained to de-escalate tense situations, complied but questioned the reasoning. "Can you clarify what's suspicious about my driving?" he asked, his voice steady. Harper's response was curt. "You don't get to ask questions. Step out now or I'll make you." Bennett exited the SUV, his hands visible, but Harper's demeanor grew more aggressive. He accused Bennett of looking like trouble and demanded to search the vehicle. When Bennett politely declined, citing his rights, Harper grabbed his arm, attempting to cuff him. "You're under arrest for resisting," Harper snapped, ignoring Bennett's calm assertion that he was complying. A second officer, Emily Klein, arrived as backup. She stood by, watching as Harper pushed Bennett against the SUV. Bennett, maintaining his composure, stated, "I'm Colonel Marcus Bennett, U.S. Army. You're escalating this unnecessarily. I'm not resisting." Harper scoffed. "Colonel? Sure. You're just another guy causing problems." He tightened the cuffs, ignoring Klein's hesitant glance. Bennett, drawing on his military training, remained silent, knowing the interaction was being recorded by Harper's body camera. At the Fairview police station, Bennett was booked on charges of resisting arrest and obstruction. He requested a phone call and contacted his sister, Tanya, who alerted their family attorney, Rachel Simmons. Within hours, Simmons arrived, demanding to see the body camera footage. The video revealed Harper's aggressive tone, unwarranted physicality, and dismissal of Bennett's identification. Simmons filed an immediate complaint with the department and contacted the local media, ensuring the incident wouldn't be swept under the rug. By the next morning, the story broke on local news, identifying Bennett as a decorated Army colonel. The revelation stunned the Fairview community and sparked outrage. Social media amplified the story, with hashtags like #JusticeForColonelBennett trending across platforms. The Fairview Police Department, already under scrutiny for prior complaints of racial bias, faced intense pressure. Chief Thomas Randall, a 25-year veteran, called an emergency meeting with his officers. Harper defended his actions, claiming Bennett's refusal to consent to a search justified the arrest. Klein, however, admitted to feeling uneasy about Harper's approach. Randall, aware of the growing public backlash, suspended Harper pending an investigation and issued a public statement acknowledging the incident but urging patience while facts were gathered. Bennett, released after 4 hours, wasted no time. He contacted his commanding officer at Fort Campbell, who escalated the matter to the Department of Defense. The Army issued a statement condemning the treatment of one of its officers and promised support for Bennett's pursuit of justice. Bennett also reached out to the NAACP's Tennessee chapter, which organized a press conference where he spoke publicly for the first time. "I've served my country in war zones," Bennett told reporters, his voice firm but measured. "I've faced danger abroad, but I never expected to be treated like a criminal in my own hometown for a lane change." This isn't just about me. It's about every person who's been targeted because of their skin color. The press conference galvanized the community. Black residents of Fairview shared their own stories of harassment by Harper and other officers, revealing a pattern of discriminatory policing. A local pastor, Reverend James Coleman, organized a town hall where residents demanded accountability. Mayor Laura Evans, under pressure, announced an independent investigation by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI. The TBI's findings, released 6 weeks later, were damning. Harper had a history of 12 complaints over his career, 8 involving black residents, with allegations of excessive force and racial profiling. The report criticized the department's lack of oversight and outdated training protocols. It also noted that Klein, while complicit, had expressed discomfort during the incident, suggesting she was influenced by Harper's authority. Bennett filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Fairview Police Department, Harper, and the town, seeking damages to fund community programs addressing police reform. His legal team argued that the arrest violated his Fourth Amendment rights and was motivated by racial bias. The lawsuit gained national attention, with civil rights groups filing briefs in support. Chief Randall resigned 2 months after the incident, citing health reasons but acknowledging the department's failures. The town council appointed Captain Sarah Mitchell, a reform-minded officer, as interim chief. Mitchell implemented immediate changes, including mandatory de-escalation training, stricter body camera policies, and a community oversight board. Harper was terminated, and Klein was placed on probation with mandatory retraining. Bennett's lawsuit was settled for $2.5 million, with funds directed to a foundation he established, the Fairview Justice Initiative, which supported scholarships for black youth and police training programs. Bennett also worked with the TBI to develop a statewide curriculum on cultural sensitivity and constitutional rights for law enforcement. The incident had a profound impact on Fairview. The police department, under Mitchell's leadership, saw a 40% reduction in civilian complaints within a year. Community trust began to rebuild, with officers participating in neighborhood events and youth mentorship programs. Bennett became a local hero, speaking at schools and churches about resilience and civic engagement. On a personal level, the incident strengthened Bennett's bond with his family. His sister Tanya became an advocate for police reform, joining the Community Oversight Board. His teenage nephew, Malik, inspired by his uncle's courage, decided to pursue a career in public policy, aiming to address systemic inequities. Nationally, Bennett's story sparked conversations about race and policing. He testified before a Senate Committee on Law Enforcement Reform, sharing his experience and advocating for federal standards on officer training. His testimony, broadcast live, resonated with millions, particularly black veterans who saw their own struggles reflected in his story. Bennett returned to active duty but continued his advocacy. He partnered with the Department of Defense to create resources for military personnel facing civilian law enforcement, emphasizing their rights and how to navigate such encounters. His foundation grew, funding programs in Tennessee and beyond, including workshops for police departments and scholarships for underrepresented students. In Fairview, the incident became a turning point. Residents noted a shift in police behavior, with officers engaging more respectfully during routine interactions. The Community Oversight Board, chaired by Reverend Coleman, held monthly meetings, giving residents a direct voice in policing practices. The department's recruitment efforts prioritized diversity, attracting officers from varied backgrounds. Years later, Bennett reflected on the incident as a painful but necessary catalyst. "I didn't choose this fight," he said in a TED Talk that garnered millions of views. "But I couldn't walk away. It was about standing up for what's right, not just for me, but for everyone who's been dismissed or dehumanized."